Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Monday, the 25th of March. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this bright and breezy Monday morning by Chris Jack. How's it going, Chris?
It's breezy where I am, but it's certainly not bright up here. I'll give you that, Derek. So you can go and enjoy your stroll later on. I need to get the wellies out if I was heading out, unfortunately. But apart from that, all good. We're now into the second week of the break. We're over the hill. We're nearly there.
Yeah, don't know why I said it's bright over here because it is chucking it down as well. So grey and gloomy down here in Warrington. Before we talk all things Rangers, quick word as ever for our podcast sponsors, MPH Boilers. You can see the banner above myself and Chrissy's head on your screen if you're watching us on Facebook, Instagram Live, or YouTube as well. The all-important links are in the description below. These are the guys to call, folks, if that is something you are thinking of. Quick shout out as well over the weekend. No football, of course, but regular contributor, YouTube member, and the likes. Graham Corkin had his 50th birthday on Saturday, so was there on Saturday night. It was a cracking time had by all. So if you're watching Graham at some point today, then thank you very much for the invite. It was a brilliant time had by myself and Mrs. Clark and everyone that was in attendance as well. Do you have a good weekend yourself, Chris?
Yes, I did actually I actually a couple of days off, so I caught up with a couple of the press colleagues from different papers over the last couple of days. I saw them on Thursday, and a day out of town with my wife and my cousin and his missus on Saturday. And then through to Tynecastle yesterday for the cup final. So it's been busy, but fully recharged. So looking forward to the next couple of days. I know we're also ticking off the days, heading back into Acton. So a couple of pieces lined up for the website this week to keep people entertained, hopefully, and give them a bit of Rangers content over the next couple of days. And then say Saturday we'll be here before we know it, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great piece on the website this morning, folks, from Chris on Joe Potter and that great achievement from the women's team yesterday at Tynecastle. We'll get stuck into that shortly. Before we do that, other news to break over the weekend, Chris. Lots of bits of Rangers news to talk about. First of all, it never rains, but it pours. Ridvan away on international duty with Turkey, hobbling off after just 27 minutes of their friendly against Hungary. Now, the Turkish coach was speaking afterwards, Vincenzo Moreira, just about Ridvan's condition. He says, I will think about this issue. We need to evaluate the physical condition of our football players. I also have a plan in my mind for young people to gain experience in such matches. I will make my decisions after making a good evaluation. So there is fears about the severity of said injury. Rangers cannot afford to have Ridvan dropping out as well, Chris. I know that Bonner would obviously come back in and replace him if need be. But this is just typical of Rangers and injuries down the years, players that going away with their international teams, a friendly match no less as well, and getting injured.
It sums up Rangers season, doesn't it? I think what we said on a couple of the shows last week. We wish these guys well when they go and play for the country. It's great experience for them. It's good exposure for them. It's good for the club to have as many internationals within the squad as possible. But the fear and the downside and the potential negative is they pick up knocks. As soon as people started doing the rounds of the night that Ridvan was starting, great stuff, great for him, earned it, deserved it. And then half an hour or so later, it's Ridvan's been taken off and he's injured, and your mind just thinks, well, this is knowing Rangers, that's him probably done for the season. Now, thankfully, we don't know that yet. People were right to fear the worst. Rangers have still to make a full diagnosis of it. There's no timeline yet. We don't know if he's out for this weekend or if he's out for longer term. It would be, as Brian says there, it would be such a huge blow for Rangers because not just the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, he's just been really, really impressive, been really steady, been really solid, been such an important part of a side that has done very, very well, obviously. And you just don't want to be losing good players. Now, while we're at the other side of that, we've seen some of the attacking guys come back. We think that Abdallah Sima's potentially not too far away, and could be back in the squad over the next couple of weeks. That would be a huge boost for Rangers. That would certainly give the team another dimension in the final third. Would add to the goals, add to the guile. That would be a real bonus heading into these last few weeks. Losing Ridvan, losing your first choice left back would not take all the shine off that, but it would cause other problems. I know we spoke about Barisic a wee bit last week as well. People were saying that he'll never play for the club again. Let's just go and write him off. Let's just rip up the last 6 weeks of his contract. And we both said, look, he will have a part to play. Whether Ridvan was fit or not, Barisic would have a part to play. If Ridvan is now potentially out for a period of time, Barisic will have a very, very big part to play, because he's the obvious option. All people will say put Ben Davies in there or put Dujon Sterling in there. I think Sterling has shown that he's more equipped on the right side of the fence when he plays there. He's certainly shown that he's a midfielder now, and in my eyes, that's his best position. If Ridvan doesn't make the Hibs game or doesn't make future games, it'll be Borna Barisic. I'd be amazed if it's not.
Yeah, there's a comment come in just on Ben Davies there. Dana Life says, Ridvan, big loss for us. You think PC will put Ben Davies in there if Ridvan is injured? No, he'll put Bonnet in there. Surely, I would imagine, if Ridvan is out for any number of games. But let's hope it was more precautionary than anything else. But yeah, it doesn't sound good limping off after just 27 minutes of their friendly. It's harsh for him as well, being called up to the Turkey squad after his impressive form for Rangers, and he does that after less than half an hour. So yeah, I'm sure we're all wishing Ridvan at the very best, and hopefully it's not too serious. There's a comment as well coming in just on Sima. You touched on it there, Chris. We are the optimistic ones in and around us hoping he's back for, I would say, beginning of April, perhaps. Is that too ambitious, do you think, if he makes the bench for the Celtic game?
I'm hoping not. Actually, I had this conversation with someone at Tynecastle yesterday, and we're saying that the manager has been quite coy, if you like, on timescales. Now, his injury updates, they've not always been as detailed as perhaps other managers have been. There's not been the same number of words on injuries in terms of timescales, and we've certainly not had the old 7 to 10 days on him, thankfully. Yeah. But I think the initial timescale all pointed to being round about now. I asked the manager a couple of weeks ago about it, and he said he's on the same timescales. I think Stevie asked him about it after the Benfica game, I think was perhaps the last update, and he said he's on the same timescale. His progress is good, I think he said that night. So we're now getting to, if the progress has gone as scheduled, which the manager has said it has over the last couple of weeks, we're now getting to the stage of, well, he should be back. Whether he makes it for Hibs, whether he makes it for Celtic, who knows? But I think we always assumed that we did pick up the injury, and that timescale was laid out by the manager. It was pointing to it's not a season ender. He will be back before the end of the season. He will be back pre-split. That certainly looks like the case for Rangers now. And if he can come back over the next couple of weeks, I say what a huge boost it would be, because that area of the side, that forward line has been decimated. He'd offer something different if he can come back. There's no guarantee that he comes back and he's in the same form that he was. Nobody scored against Killie and then went off to AFCON. There's no guarantee that he can pick up where he left off. It may well take him a couple of weeks. But if he can show anything like that level of form, if he can show anything like the level of goal contributions that he did do during that purple patch earlier on in the season, that might get Rangers, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals. And over the last couple of weeks of the season, those could be the goals that prove the difference in not just the title race, but in the Scottish Cup bid as well.
Yep. Neil says, can we bring in a yoga teacher? I think it might do wonders. Ever done yoga before, Chris?
I have not, no, and I'm not willing to try it on camera either. So before Johnny and Josh get any ideas, I'll be putting your name down for that one.
No bother at all. Other news over the weekend, just international wise, Ali McCoist has had his say on Jack Butland not being in the England squad on Talk Sport this morning, incidentally, because he's been overlooked. There's been another call-up. Sam Johnstone has dropped out of the squad through injury. Burnley's James Trafford has been called up instead. He's been promoted from the under-21s to the senior squad. McCoist this morning said, I've said it for a couple of weeks. I don't know what he's got to do. Certainly his performances and his form has been fantastic. There are now injured players and guys effectively not playing, getting picked before him. That's Gareth's prerogative, but it's definitely a strange one for me. I've said this, well, I don't know if I touched on this in detail before, Chris. I was amazed he wasn't part of the original England squad for the upcoming games. And, of course, the injury to Sam Johnstone, you would think Gareth would go in and call Jack up. He's elected to call James Trafford up. He's at Burnley. He's playing regular for Burnley. They are struggling in the Premier League, but he has played for the under-21s for a number of years, so it's a pretty straight promotion for him. Surprised he's not been called up?
Surprised he wasn't called up originally. Surprised he's not been called up now. As Cloystey says, it's Gareth Southgate's prerogative. It's his decision, obviously. Doesn't mean to say that I agree with it. I don't really understand what he's thinking. If you're picking guys on form, if you're saying to players, if you play well for your clubs, you will be rewarded at international level. Well, that message just goes out the window in terms of Jack Butland. The best form that he's shown for many years in his career, consistently part of a side that's already won a cup, that's played knockout European football, that's going for the league, that's going for the Scottish Cup. We all know how good Jack Butland has been over the course of the season. If Gareth Southgate doesn't understand that, that's up to him. But I don't really understand why Jack's not been given that call. I think he's more than earned it. He spoke about it a couple of times. I think you could tell what it would mean to him to get back into that squad. But I think England's loss is Rangers' gain. If it means, there we go, as Graham says, if Jack can go away, I think he is on holiday at present. If he's away and he gets his feet up for a couple of days, bit of time with the family, bit of chill time, and he comes back ready to go for these next few weeks of the campaign for Rangers, then that's fine. I don't think even if he'd been called up, I don't think he was going to play. You'd imagine Pickford probably plays in the game against Belgium. So I don't think it's a case of if he'd been called up, I say he goes straight into the starting lineup. I think it would have been a nice recognition for him. It would certainly have been a well-earned and much worthy recognition for him. But I say if that's Gareth Southgate's judgment, then I say he's the man that's getting paid many millions of pounds every year to put our England side on the pitch. I'm sure. I think the manager spoke about it after the Benfica game. Also, the squad was announced that afternoon. He said he spoke to Jack briefly about it, and his focus was then straight on the game. I think he's old enough, he's wise enough, he's experienced enough. He's not going to let this type of thing get to him. He may well be disappointed. I'm sure he is, because as he spoke about it, he's clearly put a lot into this season. I'm sure he will be disappointed at missing out, but ultimately he's got bigger things to focus on in terms of his first season here. Would you rather win the League Cup, play in Europe, have a Scottish Cup and have a Premiership to go for, or would you rather sit on the bench for a friendly for England? As much as the England thing would have meant a lot to him, I think if he's sitting with 3 medals at the end of the season, he'll be the only England goalkeeper sitting with a medal come the end of the season. And I think that will ultimately mean more to him. That's a bigger reflection of his season, his form, his quality, than getting a call up for a friendly.
Yep. Not surprising to see James getting called up. He's a good lad, incidentally, and it'll be a good experience for him. But I felt that Jack should have been called up as the one of the original 3. Mark with the point here, he says he does not recognise Scottish football. Talk about Southgate, never seen up here watching games yet. Mentioned before when the squad came out originally, the only reason he's not picked has to be a snobbery towards Scottish football, because his form really deserves a call up to that English setup. But he'll be putting his feet up, Jack, at this moment in time, getting ready for Hibs at Ibrox next week. We'll take this question here before we focus on the ton of events at Tynecastle yesterday, Chris. Denzel with the point. I'm sure you love this question that seems to be coming up every video these days. Does Chris know anything more about negotiations between Lundstrom and the club? Still yet to sign that new deal. We know there have been ongoing talks for some time now between player and club. It's all about meeting halfway, if you like, a deal that is beneficial for John Lundstrom, and one I'm sure the club cannot afford to be paying him what he's on at this moment in time, Chris. So it's coming to some sort of happy medium, but I've seen some supporters getting asking questions why it's taking so long. He is free to speak to other clubs, as we all know. I've not heard of any other teams looking to prize him away at this point, but is that a concern the longer it goes on for you?
I think there was a report online yesterday morning. Didn't come from a Scottish outlet, didn't come from one of the newspapers or websites up here, incidentally. That said that the negotiations had stalled, but that both parties were still committed to it, and the Rangers still wanted to make it happen. Again, I asked someone about that at Tynecastle yesterday, and it was knocked down on account of the source of the story. And that was as far as the conversation went. So read into that what you will. I will make another inquiry on it later on, try and get an update on it. But as I think we said 6-7 weeks or so ago now, maybe, that the club were committed to it, that the manager wanted it to happen. He's made it clear they want John to be part of the squad. All parties, as we reported at that time, were keen for it to happen. I think, as I said last week or the week before, there's a lot of issues going on at Rangers right now in terms of the games. There's a European campaign come to an end. I think full focus is rightly on winning the games, going for the title, trying to win the Scottish Cup. Lundstrom's future, I don't think is a major issue right now. I don't think it's something that has to be sorted right now. It doesn't have to be sorted tomorrow. I think it will be sorted also one way or the other over the coming weeks. But I will try and find out. But I say that the story that was doing the rounds yesterday, there was no comment either way on it. It was just a case of the source of that particular one. It was almost treated as that. Well, read into that what you will. But so Rangers were not getting too worked up, or Rangers were not want to do anything either way on that particular story yesterday.
Yep, Colin with a point here. He says Lunny might be thinking this could be his last contract. He is just turned 30 last month. So yeah, he has to be looking out for himself. I totally get that. And it has to be a deal that suits Rangers as well. So yeah, no update on that. But as Chris said, we'll try and do a bit of digging and see where we are with regards to that one. Right, let's move on. Of course, a great weekend for the Rangers women's team. Chris Castle for us yesterday, winning convincingly by 4-1, 3-1 up by half-time, Joe Potter's side, and scoring a fourth goal in that second half. The first of what hopefully will be a domestic treble this season. What did you make of it all?
I thought Rangers were really, really comfortable. They also had that wee spell in the middle of the first half where Thistle scored a great goal, to be fair to them. Rachel Donaldson with a great strike from distance. And I thought at that time, Thistle, they were clearly put a lot into it in terms of build-up. It was a historic moment for them, being the first Thistle women's side to get to a cup final. They put a lot into it to get there, put a lot into the occasion. But you always had the feeling that Rangers' class, their quality, and their full-time status would weigh very, very heavily in their favour. It would have been a huge shock if Thistle had managed to get a result yesterday. I know they drew 0-0 in the league a couple of weeks ago, but that's been a very, very rare slip-up for Joe Potter's side. As I thought, they controlled long, large swathes of the game, scored some good goals themselves, and I say they were very, very worthy winners in front of a crowd of just under 5,000. So I think it was a great spectacle, a great family day. But from a Rangers point of view, ultimately the most important thing was coming home with the trophy. They've defended the Sky Sports Cup this season, and much like the Rangers side, they've got the men's side. They've got that first one in the bag now. It's safely secured at Ibrox. Now let's go and win the other two.
Yeah, like you said, they did have a little stumble of late, like you said, Drew, with Partick Thistle, lost it to Celtic recently as well, but that could really act as another little springboard, you think, Chris, from now until the end of the season, and go on and then do the clean sweep, if you like.
Joe spoke about that a bit after the game, so I was coming into our post-match press conference and mentioned that reaction from last week. As I mentioned it a couple of times, knowing that it just didn't quite click for them last weekend against Celtic. Also, their first defeat of our reign, first league defeat the last couple of weeks. With that defeat and the draw against Thistle, it's opened things up a wee bit at the top of the table. It's obviously very tight between Rangers, Celtic, and Glasgow City. I think it's Hibs, Rangers have got this week. I think City actually play Celtic this week as well. So when you get into the split in that division, every game means something. And the games between the three title contenders also carry so much significance because of the level of them and how much resource or how much better they are, if you like, than some of the other sides in the division. So the games, the Old Firm games, the games for Glasgow City are going to be hugely significant over the next couple of weeks. But I think Joe spoke a bit about the mentality of being able to park that Celtic result, come back. If they scraped it 2-1 yesterday, people will say, well, are things not quite as good as we thought they were? Okay, you then start questioning the mentality. I think to go out and win as comfortably said a lot about the squad. If it had finished 5, 6, 7, I think it could have done with some of the chances that Rangers had. I think that would have been harsh on Thistle because I say they put a lot into it. I think 4-1 really it showed the difference between the sides, and as I said earlier on, I think ultimately the quality of the Rangers side and the full-time fitness showed Thistle just not quite at it, but no shame in their parts. They've had an incredible run to get to the final. But Rangers more than worthy winners. I thought they were really impressive on the day. A good Rangers support there, so a bit of sunshine in the capital as well, and it ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done to the women goals from me and my colleague Rachel Rowe, Rio Hardy, and Liv McLaughlin getting the goals in that one. A few comments coming in as well. This caught me by surprise last night, Chris, I've got to say, when I noticed it on social media. Lewis with the point, he says, can we just say, putting the Rangers badge over the Hearts badge was tremendous. I had to check it wasn't a parody, but Hearts released a statement. This was Rangers putting in the dressing room, putting their crest over the Hearts badge in their dressing room, which is totally understandable. We want to make it as Rangers orientated in that dressing room as possible. Other clubs do it. They did it. Rangers did it when they were at Tynecastle, I think 2022, if I'm not mistaken. You see clubs doing it all the time, but Hearts released a statement last night. I'll read you it, folks. This has to be heard to be believed. Heart of Midlothian Football Club is aware of images circulating of the Tynecastle Park home dressing room at today's Sky Sports Cup final. Although the club hands over the running of the stadium on the day to the competition organisers, the SWPL, we were involved with pre-match planning. We would therefore like to assure our supporters that we did not approve any request for dressing room branding in either dressing room for either club involved. It is extremely disappointing to learn that our wishes were disregarded. How this came to be a matter for the SWPL and Rangers to sort, but needless to say, no explanation will be satisfactory in our eyes or the eyes of our fans. Nevertheless, we will demand answers to ensure that our club crest is never defaced again. It is also regrettable that this action has taken away the focus from what was a successful cup final and another opportunity to grow women's football in Scotland. Chris, wow, I can't believe I'm reading it again. That it's actually out there in the public domain. It's not as if they went in there with cans of spray paint, defaced the dressing room with Rangers crests. I don't really get where Hearts are coming from here.
Is this now Badgegate? I'm sure this will become a saga, no doubt. No, like you did, I saw the statement last night, and I think like a lot of Rangers fans were caught between amused and bemused about it. I don't really get where the outrage is coming from. There's obviously been that picture has then. The pictures also started doing the rounds on social media. Hearts fans have also piled into Facebook accounts and Twitter accounts, and it's become a thing. Quite why the club decided that they had to comment on it, I'm not sure. I'm sure if we find pictures of of Seville a couple of seasons ago, you may well see a Rangers badge and a Frankfurt badge somewhere within that stadium.
Yes,
I just don't quite. I don't quite understand it. You know when you hand over your stadium, that clubs will bring their own things with them. They'll bring their own gear.
If the game was at Ibrox and Hearts were there and they put the Hearts badge, don't care. It's their cup final. It's you're not defacing the badge.
No,
that's what I can't get my head around.
It's also not a permanent fixture. It's not
Exactly.
as if Stephen Smith and the boys are going to turn up in a couple of days and the Rangers badge is still going to be in the middle of the dressing room. So I don't really understand the. It's very much a Twitter storm. This one, very much a social media storm. People looking for reasons to be offended. If Hearts want to ask questions of the SWPL over it, fine. They're more than entitled to ask their questions. But I think that, as you say, we read the statement out there. They're saying that it's taking away from the spectacle. The only thing that's taking away from it is Hearts making it a bigger issue than it actually was. Because the fact the club then comment on it, that then turns it into something. If it's just people shouting into a Twitter vacuum, in the grand scheme of things, nobody really knows, and the general public don't know, don't care. As soon as Hearts then put a statement out, media organisations then pick it up, and then gets more traction on social media, and it then becomes something that's taking away from the spectacle of the final. As I said earlier on, it's a 5,000 crowd there yesterday, bit of sunshine. It was a great day out. Loads of families, loads of kids. Kingsley and Broxley were play fighting on the touchline. They had before the game. There's a lot to like about the occasion. A lot to like about the game from a Rangers perspective. Hearts are making something out of nothing here, and that's taking away from the spectacle. That's taking away from the occasion of the final. And ultimately, if you don't like it, don't hand over your stadium next. Go and play it at St Mirren next season. And as I said to you last night in a group chat, if you play it at St Mirren, you can have a Rangers club shop. You can put the Rangers badges wherever you like at St Mirren.
Yep. I couldn't agree more with that. Hugo Bear says Rangers a phobia. So I feel sorry for anyone with that condition, I've got to say. Interesting question here from Roddy. He says, have the women got a separate trophy room? Don't think so, Chris. Do they? The women's trophy. I think that the Sky Sports Cup will be nestling inside that Ibrox trophy room once it's been paraded.
Yes, they don't have a separate one. All the like trinkets and all the trophies that the women's team win, they just go in the main trophy room at Ibrox. Actually, I saw the league title one that won a couple of seasons ago. I saw that one. Might be the last time, or the time before that was in the. Must have been the time before that was in the trophy room. But no, they put all the women's trophies and trinkets and bits of memorabilia they take their place within the trophy room. I don't know if Rangers will have the team, maybe even have a team parade the trophy at the weekend if that's possible. I'm sure they'll try and do it at some point. And I say hopefully it's the first of many this season for both the women's side and the men's side. So if all goes to plan over the next couple of months, they might have to do a bit of reshuffling in the trophy room and move some things about, hopefully to try and get all six of them in there.
Yeah, a lot of moving about. I think will need to be going on in like this. James McLean says, well, what set piece for the second goal? Hopefully Big Phil was watching. Aldo also echoes that. He says, who's on the ladies' set pieces? Can they come on for the lads? Yeah, well worked goal, Chris. Hopefully we can see that in the when the men return to action. I know that Phil Clement will have had a couple of weeks. I think that a number of the players will get time off to go and see their families and what have you. I think the manager will have a few days off as well, but no doubt he'll be planning for a Hibs meticulously as he always is with every game. But I would like to see, I've said this before, but a variation and invention like we've seen yesterday on the set pieces.
It does just, I think, was it last week or the week before we spoke about Rangers corners, and a lot of it comes down to in-swing and out-swinging ones, but I think that's part of the issue. But as you say, I would like to see a bit more variation in them. Now, having that ability to play them short, to get players into different positions, makes such a difference. You become less obvious. You become more difficult to play against because teams don't know exactly what to expect from you. And say fair play to to the women's side yesterday. It was a really nice goal. Worked it well, a great finish, and curled it right across into that top corner. And when that one goes in, it's kind of obvious the pattern of the game. So I think the goals came at good times for Rangers, and they did score some good ones. Me and Macaulay had a great finish for the first one. As I think the second and third ones, nice moves in their own way, and the fourth one seals it. And after that, and Brian Graham said post match he didn't want Thistle to get embarrassed. He was happy just to really pack the defence, try and see the game out. I think they did that. I say Rangers can take a lot of positives from them, or from that game, from the goals. Hopefully, Joe and the players enjoyed themselves last night, but I think her message will be the same as it was from Fleet come on after the Betfred was, or the Viaplay was won. Sorry, it's right back on it. You've done it, enjoy it, celebrate it, but the focus obviously moves straight on to the next one. So hopefully it's a successful few weeks for both sides at Ibrox.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in saying that the double treble is definitely still on this season. That would be quite miraculous if Rangers were to win the treble, both in the men's and women's game. So there's the target. Joe and Philippe, go and do the business. But a successful weekend for the Rangers women's team. So well done to Joe and the girls there. And as Chris said earlier on, we're now building up to Rangers returning to action on Saturday when Hibs come to Ibrox. I think that'll do us there. Huge thanks to everyone for interacting with the show, as ever. It is much appreciated. As we touched on earlier on, plenty on the website, lots of reaction from yesterday. Great piece from Chris on Joel Potter there. Fantastic article from Martin on Saturday on David Cooper, 29 years on from his tragic death. I urge you to go and read that. It's a brilliant read. And there'll be plenty to come on the website and the YouTube channel this week, as always. But until we speak to you again, folks, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Bye for now.